right, guys, so today we're going to focus on our ramps, and we're going to make them rocky because, as previously stated, this is the town that grew out of the mountains. I have 3 ramps total, but we're just going to do one. I have just pieces of cut up styrofoam. There are several ways, of course, that you can do this, but I happen to have this, and so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just putting the glue, hard to squeeze. It's sort of putting the glue everywhere. And then, now I don't want to make it lower than the bottom seam here, because that's going to be really hard when it comes time to put it on the ground. But other than that, we're just going to sort of put these wherever. And then we're going to plaster over these. I'm going to plaster over everything. Because obviously to leave it like this would be ridiculous. So I have no rhyme or reason as to where I'm putting this stuff. I'm just putting it, somewhere. And some of it's going to stick over the ramp, right? But that's okay because it's a rocky area. This is how the town was built. So we're going to have some rocky pieces. Needs a little bit more, I think. Maybe here. Okay. And remember, this is the glue that does dry really quickly. So we'll be done pretty soon. I don't want to also put too much here because this is the backing. So it's going to sit like this when it's done. And so I don't want there to be stuff here on the bottom or on the back. Okay? We'll come back for plastering. Remember, the styro goo dries fairly quickly. And I know this looks crazy, but this is how this always starts, okay? We are going to use plaster strips. I cut up about 20, and I don't think, you're not going to need close to 20 for these little ones, but I just wanted to get all the plastering done, in one go. So there we are. Okay. Like I said, I've cut up 20 of these guys. Woodland Scenics does make a great plaster cloth. You can also find plaster cloth on Amazon. It's a little bit more budget friendly because it comes in a bigger amount for about the same price. So you could plaster it if you're not sure that, you know, maybe you want to save it for next year. But I tend to not keep 95% of the stuff that I do, so I'm not too worried. And then I will come back with the, once this dries, with the plaster cloth. Sorry, not the plaster cloth, that's what we just did. I will come back with the plaster of Paris and just fill those little holes in, wait for that to dry, and then we will paint. Alright guys, I've mixed up a little plaster, just a very small amount of water because I wanted it a little bit thicker. That was when we messed up yesterday. And I'm just gonna use this paintbrush to sort of cover these holes. I might add a tiny bit more water. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit thicker, a little bit thinner. And I just added just a tiny little amount of water. There, because I like the holes covered when you paint. It really does make a difference. All right, we're gonna have to make a little more for the other two. All right, I'm gonna just do the other two off camera. That way this video is not too terribly long because we have plastered before. I don't know if you can see some holes right here. Under here, but moss mat is actually going to go over that, so I'm not as worried about that part. Okay, our plaster has dried, and so now we have our black wash. I'm going to go in really quickly, you know, and just do this. And again, we do the black wash first. You don't technically have to do a black wash first if you really just don't want to, but the black wash helps because it is paint, and I call it black wash because it's black paint, but you could do brown wash, white wash, anything you want. Red wash if you're doing Halloween, or I don't know, maybe you're doing a big Christmas area and it's green and red, who knows. But it's called the black wash because it has water in it, and the water thins the paint out, and this thinner paint makes it a little bit easier to get sort of into some of these little small crevices. I don't have gloves on this morning. Probably should have, but it's been a crazy morning at the house so far, guys. So, oops, that's a little sticks out. That's okay. Well, this is one that it's actually going to sit this way, which is why I didn't put rocks on this side, because it's going to go up against the wall. Okay, can y'all see that? Yeah. Okay. So that's why we call it the wash, is because it has water in it. Which, if this is your very first video and you're like, I have no idea what the ratio is. It's about 70-30, but it's not an exact science. I do not use a measuring cup. Essentially, it should drip off of your paintbrush, but not too much, because you do want it to stay, you know, semi where you put it. This also has the, and maybe it's just because it's warm here, but I don't know if you can tell, see the more shiny part and then the more matte part. It's already drying. We just started painting 2 minutes ago, and it's already drying. So it's a thinner paint, it's gonna dry faster. And again, all we're doing is just, we're starting to create our illusion for our Christmas village that this is a real place, and you know, we're gonna have our rocks, all that good stuff. Oops, there's a piece I missed. Okay, so then you go and go over, this is black wash. I'm gonna do, again, my gray rocks, one of my favorite places to vacation in the entire world, has gray rocks, a lot of like gray and black rocks. So I'm, you know, sort of recreating that. I am making a mess here, but luckily this is, usually I'd wear gloves, but again, it's been a bit of a crazy morning here. I just want to get this done. It has a lot of gray and black rocks to it, so I'm using that as inspiration. I'm not recreating a specific place. You guys can recreate a specific place if you want to. That's totally fine. I encourage that. Looks really nice when people do it. But mine is a fictional village, but I do pull from real life. So since mine is inspired by real life, I get to take creative liberties with it. I don't have to do something exactly as it might appear actually in real life, because this is in fact a fictional village. I will go ahead and paint my third one here, but I'm going to do that off camera, unless y'all just like the sound of the paintbrush. If you just like the sound of the paintbrush, I could do like an what is it called? ASMR sort of video where I don't talk at all and just paint. Because we still do have painting to do. We have 3 more platforms to make. So if that's something that y'all would maybe want, let me know. And I will do one where we just do a brief intro and then it's painting. Okay, so I'm going to paint the last one, and then once the black wash dries, which again, it's already drying because A, it's thinner, and B, it's warm here this morning. Even though it's early morning, it's warm, so it'll dry pretty quick. We'll come back, we'll do a quick, whoops, missed a piece. We'll do a quick gray wash, or not gray wash, we'll do a quick, like some gray accents, and we'll lay our path down. All right, guys, it's the afternoon. Things have dried off, and I have just some gray paint on the edge of the brush here. I am going to paint all this black later. And this, of course, this is our first coat. So, as always, it's the darkest. And then we'll do at least 1, maybe 2 lighter coats. That's great. Don't forget your top here. I'm not doing this part because we're gonna lay the moss mat over it. So there's no point. We will do that part. Okay, did I get the top of this? No. All right, that, and all right, okay. All right, guys, I have this. Probably gonna have to mix up a little more, actually. Oops, that's too much. We're definitely gonna need to buy more. We're gonna need to buy more white paint. Luckily, Apple Barrel brand is not very pricey and you can find it on Amazon. I think Walmart might carry it too. But I tend to buy on Amazon. Okay. There we go. Whoops, making a mess. Don't want to do that. There we go. And a little more dramatic because we're gonna have some mountains. It is a mountainous city after all. Town, not really a city. It's not big enough. Doesn't fit the strict definition of city, does it? There we go. And again, just holding this at an angle, okay, to just barely get the edges. Okay. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. And that's another reason I really like all these rocks, is you can make stuff like this. All right, we're gonna paint the underside here because as I'm filming, I can just imagine that as I film, like, whoops, you can see the white. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint that black. Once this dries, which will be any minute because it's still warm, a lot of rain came through, and so it did cool it down a bit. So it is about 80 degrees. So we will go through and do the Limax Moss Mat soon. All right, guys, I have cut 3 pieces here of the moss mat. It does originally look more like this, okay? And so I did my wild honey, I did the light green static grass, and then I just put some of the little pebbles down, and I sprayed it again with glue. So now it's gonna sit down better. We're gonna then attach it to here. I did also, I wanted to show you when I was measuring and I was putting these on, I realized that I had missed some of the insides here, and so I went ahead and just quickly took the paintbrush and ran it through just kind of quick to help cover all of that. Okay, so this one goes here, and that's how that's gonna look, okay, for the path, because these are not walking paths, what's the right word I'm looking for? These are just sort of, you know, carved out of the mountain paths. You could use a different glue. I just really like the styrofoam, the styro goo, because it does adhere very quickly. And we're just gonna gently pat that down, and the styro goo will do its thing. Make sure to get really close to the bottom too, guys. Don't leave a lot of that black showing, or you'll have to paint white, sort of, or you have to paint the gray underneath. Okay, and now this is done, so all this has to do is just go sit over there. And just wait for this to dry. Okay, so this one, put some glue on. Again, carefully, because this is wet, okay? Okay, that's actually a little bigger, but that's okay. We can always fold or cut that down, because this is going to be facing a wall. So, you know, it's okay. We can even glue that down later. We'll just leave that part. And then finally, this guy. Show you what I'm doing. I'm just gluing on the bottom, just running some up. Again, getting the bottom. Oops. And don't worry, we're gonna put our snow down, but the snow is gonna go over the whole thing, so I didn't, well, must be a pill now. I did not feel the need to necessarily, there we go, to put snow on this first. Okay, and we're just gonna tap that in so that it, you know, the glue can grab it and hold it. Okay, guys, that's that. We're gonna wait for these to dry, and then we will continue making the roads with our, either using the actual Limax Moss Mat or using, drawing our roads out first, and then we'll put all the stuff down first. So come back for the next video. Thanks so much, and as always, if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave me a comment. I will get back to you, and share with any of your villaging, train, crafting friends. See y'all soon. Bye.